Good afternoon, and welcome to the first program in our January and February Middays series titled Made by Hand in Boston, The Crafts of Everyday Life. This series is co-sponsored by Artists Crossing Gallery, a cooperative fine art gallery at the corner of Washington and Winter Streets. I'd like to give a special welcome today to the fifth graders from the Elliott School, a Boston public school in the North End. We're so glad that you could join us for this program. And now I'm very pleased to introduce today's presenter, Dan Gagnon, who will lead us in learning about twisted strands, rope making in the Charlestown Navy Yard. Dan is a ranger at Boston National Historical Park and has been doing programs like this one for 22 years in Boston, New Bedford, Salem, and Lowell. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dan Gagnon.
I get excited when I talk about history, and rope making is somehow, for some reason, is one of those exciting things about history of Boston that I kind of fell into. And we want to start a little bit about what is rope. This is what we have as the dictionary definition of what rope is about. But it's just any long fiber. There's two types of ropes you have. You would have a braided rope or twisted rope. And we're going to be talking more about the twisted rope. And you'd be surprised the types of ropes that would be around that you might have. Does anybody have any rope on them? Does anybody have any? Take a look at your shoelaces. See, that's what you have on shoelaces is a braided rope, okay? Some people might, especially if you have long hair, and I'm not guilty of that for sure, but if you have long hair, you might braid your hair, and if it's long hair, they use horsehair rope, so the same idea of braiding hair to be able to make rope. And in this case, we're talking a little bit more about the rope making the sea maritime rope making at that. The type of rope that I'm going to talk about here is more about the twisted. And you can see this is sort of broken down in in each section. First, you start off with fibers. You have to create a fiber. Any long fiber, like I said, would do. Hair would do. Usually a type of grass known as hemp was used. And then you would twist those fibers around each other, and that creates a yarn. And has anybody seen people with spinning wheels and doing the spinning wheel? They're using wool to make yarn. That's the same thing. They're making that type of yarn. Then you take a bunch of yarns and you put them next to each other, and you twist them in the opposite direction, okay? And that gets you the strand. And you can see here, I'm going to see if I get this to work here. So here's my yarn, my fibers, and this is my yarn. Now see, we have 3 yarns are being made up into a strand, and then you take those 3 strands and you twist them opposite again, and you make your rope right there. See? And then in this case, you've heard the term opposites attract. Well, that's what happens with rope. And what happens is by twisting in opposite directions, it's actually binding together, and it creates the strength. Actually, if you were to take the fibers, these fibers right here, and place them next to each other and try to lift something, they're going to break a lot quicker than if you take those same number of fibers and twist them all up into rope like this. You can lift a lot more with the rope with the same number of fibers. And that's what makes rope so special. Now, in maritime, we talk about a rope. On ships like USS Constitution, they use 44 miles of rope. Can anybody think about some of the types of rope that they would use? You can see some of it here, but some of it you won't be able to see here. Does anybody think of any type of rope on a, yeah? In the nets, okay, in nets. You can see right here, actually, what they have here is you have on the sides, it's kind of hard to see on the side here, coming along the sides. That's your standing rigging, okay? That's just stationary rigging that's holding the masts up, okay? And then you see all the other stuff right here on the sides up here. That's kind of holding up, that's pulling up and down the sails. And so that's your running rigging. Okay, but they also, inside, have you been to Constitution Museum? Anybody been to Constitution Museum? Did you go into the exhibit that they have in there for kids? They have like places where you sleep. What do they sleep on? Good? Hammocks, yeah. And what holds the hammocks up? Rope. Okay? And if you see them after when they're done with the hammock and they've put it away for the day, they wrap something around it. What are they wrapping around it? Rope. So you can see, even on the canvases are holding down any type of things that are excuse me, anything over the, covering any cargo on the ship, they have canvas and they tie it down with rope. So rope is used for a lot. Now, on a military vessel like USS Constitution, they have to replace the rope every 3 years. On a merchant vessel that would go and get goods from other countries and bring it back here, you would replace it about every 5 years. And the reason for that is that rope is made out of a natural product, and it's going to get wet. It gets out there in the rain, and it sits around. And it may look nice on the outside, but inside it's still wet, and then because it's a natural product, it's going to rot. And so you may have some nice-looking rope, but it's all rotted inside, and it could break. And if you're on a military vessel, you depend on the rope for the sails to be able to get you in and out of danger real quick. So they have to replace it quite frequently. And if you've ever seen any of these sailors doing the fancy knots, they take the old rope that they're not using anymore, and then they take those and they decorate the ship or make bracelets and all kinds of things out of the waste rope, the rope that they're going to be throwing away. They just make extra stuff out of it. Now, rope walks are where they make the rope. And this shows you, this probably dates to about 1300. So you can see rope's been around for a long time. And this is just kind of showing you the whole idea of a rope walk. Now, a rope walk is any flat space. You need a long space because rope is only as strong as where you splice the rope together. So you want to make your rope as long as possible. And so you would have a flat open field or a long road, a pier, or that type of thing. And that's where you would make all of your rope. Many of these rope walks would be outside. They would be exposed to the elements. But like I said before, this is a natural products. Hemp, which is a grass, would be used. If it's made outside in the rain, it's going to get wet, and it's going to cause a problem with the rope. So you oftentimes try to make it by covering it, and they were made with wooden sides, and they'd be able to protect it from the environment. Now, in the Charlestown Navy Yard, they were able to make one out of stone, so it was much safer at that point, because there was always the dangers of fires when they're making rope. One of the processes is putting tar into the rope itself, and you have to heat the tar up, and it could cause a fire. Now, the earliest rope makers, the earliest rope walks in the Boston area actually was in Charlestown, and that was in 1638. It was around the city square, Lynn Street area. It was a flat open space along the shoreline that they made rope there. But the people in Boston wanted their own rope maker, and what they did was nobody wanted to come to Boston for some reason in 1641. So what they did was they went to England and they found a rope maker. His name was John Harrison, and they asked him to come to Boston. And he's thinking, why would I go to the wilds of Boston, Massachusetts? It's pretty much a wilderness area when he has an established business in England, which lots of ships are being built there. The people in Boston realized shipbuilding was going to be a big business too, and they needed rope. So they convinced him to come by telling him that if you come to Boston, we'll make sure that you're the only rope maker in Boston. You have a monopoly for your entire life. And he was able to do that. In 1662, there was another rope maker who came into Boston, tried to make fishing line, which is a real thin rope, and they kicked him out of Boston, and he ended up going over to Charlestown and make his rope there too. So he died. Unfortunately, Harrison died in 1667, and at that point, it was open game that any rope maker can come to Boston, and there were many. By 1767, there are 14 rope makers. This is a map showing from, I think this was 1722, and you can see some of the rope walks. Some of the rope walks here. You see a rope walk right down in this area here. You see some in the north end. The west end over here. There are also many in the north end itself. Harrison's rope walk was down in this area here. So like I said, 1797, there were 14 rope walks in Boston alone. Eventually, by the end of the 19th century, there were over 28 rope walks in Boston alone. So you see, it was a very important business. Now, in 1837, after 3 years of planning, the Department of Navy decided that they needed to have a rope walk. They needed to make rope for their ships. They were building ships here in Boston, and there were five other places where they were building ships along the East Coast, and they needed lots and miles and miles and miles of rope, and they were not satisfied with the quality of rope coming from the private industry. So they decided to set up a rope walk here. They built a rope walk in Boston, in Charlestown. It's a 1/4 mile long, made out of granite. All of the machinery inside of this thing had to be invented. They had never invented the machinery for making rope, so it would be all automated. It was a steam-powered factory. So, and eventually you can see this is what it looks like. This was an older version, but it looks pretty much the same today, along which this is Chelsea Street, and this is the Ropewalk right itself. There was a hemp house where the hemp would come in, and that's where they would process the hemp, the fibers. And then there was a tar house where they would take the fibers, the yarns, and put the tar into it, and then they would lay the rope out in this rope walk itself here. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about that later, so we're going to be able to do this a little bit better. But like I said, all the machinery was invented for the rope walk here. So now, yes, rope walk for walking. Yeah, that's a good point. Why is it called a rope walk? It's because in order to be able to lay out the rope, you have to walk back and forth along the whole length. Okay, those spinners, early on spinners, would use a hand crank machine, and what they would do is they would walk backwards like this, and they would lay out, pulling out a little bit of fiber at a time, and it's being spun on a hook there, and then they would walk back out and do each yarn like that. So they would continue doing that, go the whole length of the rope walk, and then they come back and they do again until they have enough yarns to, yarns to be able to make the rope that they want. So it takes a long time to do that. You're thinking for each time that they went back and forth, that's a quarter of a mile each way, quarter mile back. So they did a lot of walking when they did that. So now to prepare the fibers, first off you have to come up with the plant. You grow a plant, and this is hemp. This shows you what hemp looks like. This is industrial hemp. And there's been some confusion. People look at this and they say that it's marijuana. It's not. It's a different type of plant. This has no hallucination values. It's a stock plant. It's reusable. They would grow it, and it has a great quick growing season. It would grow really tall. Once you get that, this shows you how tall it is. Look at this woman right here standing next to one that's cut. And then you would take that and you would cut it down and you lay it on the ground and let the moisture attack it, like the morning dew and stuff like this. And this is what's called retting. And what you do is think about, you ever see celery? If you look at celery, you take a bite out of it, you have these long stringy things in there and there's sort of a gummy substance between the strings. Well, what they're doing is they're trying to do the same thing. They want to get at the stringy part of it and get rid of the gummy part. So they let it sit out there and let it ret, and basically it's rotting. And it's all of the fibers will now be what's left there. So they set this up like this. And then you can see here's an example of that. See the fibers on the sides here? This is all fibers right in here. Those are all the fibers they're trying to get at off of this. And this is the woody stalk that's around there. So they kind of get rid of all of it. And so this is what they have left. And then they have to do a thing called breaking. This was supposed to be a video and it didn't work. So this is showing a guy beating the stalks. Here's the stalks. You put it across a board here, and then you hammer it down like this. You keep smashing it all so it breaks all of the stalk away so that only the fibers are there, and hopefully all the woody pulp would go off to the side. Then the next part is called hatcheling. Excuse me. What you have is now, you ever see those on cartoons where you see a guy lay down on a spiked bed? You know, the bed of nails. You ever seen that, like that? Well, that's kind of the same thing. They would have this board with these spikes sticking up there, and they would take a bunch of these stalks that have already been beaten and all the bark is pulled away, and you would throw the thing on top there, and you'd pull real fast. What it does is it straightens the fibers, and it pulls all the extra bark away there, so all you have is the straightened fibers left. And this is what they did in the factory in the Charlestown Navy Yard. This is a machine that was designed to do the exact same thing, to comb it out and straighten the fibers so they can be prepared to be able to do the twisting. Here, this is showing you the twisting part, the spinning. Remember I talked about the guy walking backwards. This is how it used to do it. There's a big wheel here. You would have an apprentice, probably someone your age, would be down here. And his job, all they would do is just turn the handle back and forth. And you have to keep a certain pace. You had to make sure it was the same pace. You couldn't slow down and speed up because that spinner is depending on that. He's walking backwards based on how fast you're spinning, and he's letting out a little bit at a time. And so you can see that's the guy here. He has the hemp around him that's already been hatcheled and is ready to spin. He has it around him, and he's letting out a little bit at a time. And then this is what the machinery does, the same thing. It's doing that. This is all the stuff that had come out of the machine that had already been straightened. It's in a big coil, like almost a big ponytail, if you will. And then it's put into the machine again, put in there, and as it's going through there, it's being twisted. And then once you put it on a bobbin, and then it goes through a tar pit. You can see this right here. See, this is, the bobbin rack is on the side here, and it would come through here and then go through, dip it in the tar, hot, super hot tar, and then it would go through another side, and then it would go through a bunch of rollers to squeegee out any excess tar, and then it would come out the other side. So this shows you sort of the other side of that. It's put on bobbins. And now you need to form strands. And this is what they would do. They would take them on the big bobbin rack. They would take each one of those yarns and they'd place it through a hole in this metal plate here. It looks sort of like a spaghetti colander, if you will. Okay, and it goes through there. And then it comes out the other side through another hole here. And it's put onto a hook. There's a machine that has a hook similar to this one here. But it's on a track. And what they would do is they would put them on that. And then they would pull it all the way back. And as they pull it back, it forms the strands. You can see there's the machine right there. It forms the strands. And then once it gets all the way to the, ooh, what happened there? So once it gets all the way to the other end, they put all the strands onto one hook, and then they place this thing here, which is it's a spacer. They called it a top. And it's placed on another cart. And once the tension is really tightened on one side, and then they release the hook, that the rope wants to unwind, but it binds on itself. And we're going to see that in a few moments. It binds on itself, and it pushes that top all the way down and makes the rope. Okay? So that's the whole process of making rope. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to make rope today. And we're going to try to do it two different ways. We're going to do it by hand using twisting sticks. And then after we're done that, we're going to come across and we have my rope making machine here, and we're going to create, this is going to be a rope walk. This church is going to be a rope walk. It's been many things, a riding school and a church and a lecture hall, but it's going to be a rope walk today too. So we're going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask, what I'm going to need is 6 volunteers. It could be kids or adults, whichever. 6 volunteers to be able to come and do this, and I will choose you on who can do this. And then I'll be asking for 4 more volunteers after this. So let me see. Let me come over here, because I asked all the questions over here. Let's start off with you. You can come up here. Come over here. Stand right here. Right there. Come here. And you in there. Okay, right over here. And we'll come on this side here, and we'll have you and you. Why don't you come over? Okay. Don't worry. This more. Okay, on this side here. Okay. Now I want everybody, all of you people right here, you're in the way. Sorry. I want you to line up right here. Line up right here, facing me. Stand right there. You stand right there. Okay. And everybody behind him. I only want to see one head. Okay. Good. Wow. Now I see 2 because you're so tall. No, that's fine. That's good. That's good. No, that's fine. That'll work. All right. Now I want everybody to face towards your right. Okay. We're going to count off by 2. Okay. Ready? So 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, and 2. All number 2s take 3 steps forward. Now, bigger steps. Come right up here. Okay. Turn around. Turn around. Okay. Now, all number 1s stand opposite the person on the other side. So go right here. Right there. Right there. Right there. Okay. Hang on to this, and I want you to hold this. You're going to hold this like this. Okay. With 2 hands. Hold that like that. Hold that like that. 2 hands. Same thing. Got that with 2 hands. Hold that like that. 2 hands. 2 hands like that. And hold that like that. 2 hands. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this row right here take a step backwards. Just be careful right there. Okay, good. Okay, and spread out a little bit more. You take 1 step over that way. You take 1 step over that way. You take 1 step over here. And 1 step right here. Okay, good. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting string onto these things. I need to make sure you hang on to this really tight, because if you let go, it's all going to unravel, and then I got to start all over again, and it takes a while to do this. So make sure you hang on. Keep it in tight to your belly. Keep it right into your belly there. And what I'm going to tell you a little bit about what rope making in history, in Boston history. Has anybody heard of the Boston Massacre? Yeah? Yeah, you know what happened at the Boston Massacre, right? We had soldiers fired on Bostonians and killing 5 of them. Did you know anything about the events that took place just before that, if only a few days before, at a rope walk? This was what they call, sometimes referred to as the Ropewalk Riots. And this was where some soldiers were walking down by Gray's Rope Walk, which was down by the old South Station. And as he was down there, hang on tight now, make sure you don't keep attention on that. And as they were going down there, they were looking for work. On their day off, they could find extra work, and they would try to work there. And so as they went down there, one of the Ropewalk workers, a man named Gray, no relation to the owner, saw them, and he yelled across and said, "Are you looking for a job?" And the soldiers said, "Yes, what do you have available?" And the Ropewalk worker then said, "Well, if you're looking for a job, then go clean my outhouse." You guys know what an outhouse is, right? Does everybody know what an outhouse is? Yeah, it's a toilet. And the soldiers, of course, didn't like that idea. So they got upset, and they started a fight. And the fight sort of escalated into a brawl. Somebody went running around yelling, "Town born, turn out." So more Bostonians came. More soldiers came to defend their friends. Things were getting really out of hand. And so it broke off. The only reason it broke off is the soldiers were so badly outnumbered, they were afraid of getting beaten to death. And then the next day, the fight continued as more soldiers were caught by Bostonians, and they were beaten up. One man actually had his skull fractured. So you can see things were getting pretty tense. So when 3 days later, when a group of soldiers were standing in front of the custom house, and Bostonians saw them there, many of those people that saw them there, the Bostonians saw them there, were people who had fought in the riot just a short time before. And things got really, I made a mistake here. So that sort of escalated to the Boston Massacre. Now what we're going to do here is, I'm going to have you swap off, I think. Yeah, you want you go that way, you come this way. Here, I made a mistake on where I started. Now go on that side there. Go ahead. Keep it tight. Now grab the handle. What I want you to do is hold the handle like this. Now, you're going to hold it like this. And I want you to go, we're going to go opposite direction of the yarn. So you want to go counterclockwise. So what I'm going to have you do is this. Okay? Now you're going to go counterclockwise, which doesn't look like the way he does it. So go ahead, you try it counterclockwise. That way, yep. Go ahead. That's it. This counterclockwise. And just keep spinning it. You guys try that now too. Spin it. Keep it tight though. Don't let it slack. No, don't see you letting it slack. Don't let it slack. Don't let it slack. Keep going. Keep doing that. Okay, good. You're going the wrong way. Counterclockwise. That's it. Perfect. Okay, good. It's confusing, isn't it? Because you see the other person's doing it the other way. You think, oh, I'm doing it wrong. So counterclockwise. That way. That way. Good. Yeah, good. Try not to whack anybody in the head, okay? So let me see yours. Hold on a second here. A little bit more, a little bit more. Okay, keep going. Counterclockwise, good. Keep it snug. Let me see yours. Keep going, keep going. You got a ways to go. So, counterclockwise. So, you're almost there, almost there, almost there. I think you guys are set. Okay, stop, hold on. I think, yeah, yours is good, yours is good. Hold on, just stay like that, okay? Yeah, good. See, that's what I wanted. See how a little kinked up a little bit? That's what I wanted. Keep it snug. Okay, stop right there for a sec. Let me see. A little bit more, a little bit more. And I think these guys might be done now. Let me see. Yeah, you guys are done. Okay, good. Now keep it snug. Come on closer here. Come together. Come. I want you to be shoulder to shoulder with her. You move over. Shoulder to shoulder with her. Okay, stop. Oh yeah, you got it now. You got it. Keep it snug. Keep it snug. Keep it snug. Now pull over here. Come over here. Shoulder to shoulder. Okay, now what we're going to do here is, I got to pull this off. Put that. Keep it snug. Keep it snug. Keep it snug. Keep it snug. Okay. It's going to be more tension now. Hold on. I know, such responsibility. Okay. And you're going to go on this one here. Okay. Those who don't have string attached, step aside. You can stand over here and just watch, okay? Okay. Now, here's the tough part. You guys don't do anything. Okay? It's all your job. Now, which way did you spin it? Counterclockwise. So now you want to, remember I said opposites attract, right, in rope. So which way do you want to go? This way. That's the same way you just went. Oh, okay. So go the other way now. Good. Keep doing that. Okay, hold on. Okay. Good. Good. Get a little closer here, guys. Good. Keep going. Keep going. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Okay. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. All right, stop right there. Hold on a second. Let me get my tape. I'm going to tape the ends. Let's hope this will cut it through all of that. Yeah, good, okay. Hang on to that there. And then we tape this end. Why doesn't that want to rip for me? Okay, and we'll cut that off. Okay, now we'll put the sticks right here. Why don't you gather all the sticks? We'll just put them right there. And we're going to put this here, and we're going to compare that in a few moments with the next machine-made one. So, okay, that's good. Okay, very good. Now, why don't you guys sit down, and I'm going to need 4 more, at least 4 more. I'm going to need 4 more for starters, and then I'm going to fill in with some others. So let's see if I can get somebody else here. You can come up here, okay? Yeah, why don't you come up? Let me do 2 there, and then do 2 over here. Why don't you come up, okay? And you can come up. Okay, good. Okay. Now, of you 4, which one's the strongest? So, okay, good, perfect. You guys, both of you over here. What you're going to do is, I'm going to move this out of the way here. Okay, you're going to stand here, okay? Now, you're going to trade off the job. Come over here on this side. You're going to trade off. The first part, you're going to be turning this when I tell you to turn this, okay? And you're going to, then at a certain point, I'm going to tell you to stop and let the other person step in, and you're going to do it, because it's going to take a while. You're going to get tired doing this. Okay, I need one of you guys over here. Okay, you're going to hold on to this right here in a few moments when I tell you to. Just stand right there. And your job, okay, come over here and stand right here. Okay, stand right here and hold it down about that way there. Okay, now, actually, I do need somebody else to help me. Why don't you help me here? Come here. Come here and help me. I didn't call on you already, have I? Okay, good. Okay. You're going to be my gopher. Hold on to that. Stand behind me. Put your hand right inside here, like that, okay, and hold on to that. And it's because I'm going to pull this here. So, oops, already. Okay. Follow me. Okay. Get this on here. Okay. Now here's that's why they call it a rope walk. Okay, under my arm here. Let me go this side here. Okay, follow me now. Let me unravel as we go. Just turn it that way when it's going that way. Okay. All right, it's good. Okay. Why don't you stand over behind here? Why don't you stand right next to her right now? So. Okay. Now back that way. It's a lot of work. Back this way. Okay, and back. Okay, now if this was a 1/4 of a mile, how long have I gone? Now this is my 4th time. So what's that? A mile, yeah. You didn't think you'd have to do math in a history class, huh? Okay. All right, I need, who hasn't gone up there yet? Why don't you come here? Take your gloves off. Hold it tight. Stand halfway between here and just hold this up like this. Hold that up. Stand right there. No, right there. And hold that. Just hold that like that. Good. Okay, now keep walking. Okay. And back.
They take turns going back and forth.
So, okay. I'm going to need another person over here who hasn't done it. Why don't you come up here if you haven't come up here yet? Okay. Okay, come over this way here. I want you to stand right here. Reach over and hold that. Just hold it up. Okay, good. Oh, turn that down. Hold it down a little bit, straight down. So, okay. All right. Back again. Almost there. Then we get to do the fun part. Okay, one more time. Okay. And then I can tell everybody what their job's going to be. I need one person over here now, somebody from this side here who hasn't come yet. Right there, redhead, yep. For lack of a better description. Okay, your job is to come on this side. Why don't you come on this side here? Stand on this side. Go underneath, yeah. Now, come over here, and I want you to hold that right there where my fingers are. Okay? And this is coming in there, too. So, right? Did I get that? No, actually, do I have 4 there? I have 4 there. Never mind. Yeah. Okay. Okay, now you're going to hang on tight because it's going to be tough to do this now. Okay, now just what I want you guys to do now is just kind of hold it like this. Just hold it, like let it rest on your hands. That's all I want you to do. Yeah, you got that one, okay. All right, your job now is to grab this and walk all the way down to the other end. Walk all the way down to the other end. Okay, that's why I want you to grab it again when you're done. Okay, good. Good. Actually, you're done here, so if you want to sit down, you can. Okay. All right, here's what we're going to do, is I want you to turn this handle. You're first, and then you'll be second, okay? I want you to turn the handle, and we're going to go. Let's see which direction we want to go. Is that it? Yes. So you're going to turn the handle so that it goes like that, okay? Now, you keep doing that until I get tired, okay? All right, good. Now, your job is just hold this out here until I tell you to start moving. So I want you to hold it like that, stiff. And your job is just stand there and look pretty. Do you think you can do that? All you do is just standing there, but it's going to get tough. It's going to get harder to pull on this thing here. You got to be faster than that, because we only have... Good. Once it's... Yeah, good. It's looking good. Okay. Keep going. And now what's going to happen is you're going to see this is going to start moving in a little bit, because why is that? Why is it moving in? Yeah, it's tight. It's contracting because it's spinning this way here instead of just being straight across. But that's good. That's what we want, okay? Okay, good. It's looking good. Now what I'm going to have you do is this is what I do, is I kind of back and forth. What I do is I kind of look at this, and when I watch for it just start to kink a little bit, then I know it's time to go. So hang on to that now. Just hang on, okay? Keep going. I know, it's tough, huh? Yeah, try to keep it straight, though. Try to keep it straight. Okay. Am I tired yet? Okay, good. All right, we're doing good here. We're doing good. Let me see how this is looking. Okay, just let me see a little bit here. So, yeah, see how it wants to move? See it's moving a little bit? That's good. Hang on to that right now, but stand right there, okay? Hold on to that. Keep going. Good. You can let that move in a little bit. But just keep it straight. Just keep it straight. Okay, good. Just keep it straight. That's all. Good. Okay. All right, I think. Yeah, don't pull on that though. Don't pull back on that. Keep it so it's straight. All you're doing is letting it rest. Thanks. Okay, I think you guys can let go now. Okay, let go. You guys can let go. Good. Yeah. Okay, we're all set there. All right. Why don't you guys switch off? Your turn. So good. Keep it straight though. Make sure it stays straight. Good. Keep her cranking. Okay. I think we're almost there. When this starts to really force itself, see, it's starting to do it. So good. A little more. Okay, now start walking slowly. There we go. So that's it. Good. Just keep going. Yeah, keep going. Slow down a little bit. Okay, good. So give her some room here. Let her get through. Good. Yep. Keep this squared. Keep it squared. Yep, good. Keep going. Tired again? Okay. Yeah, it's tough to keep it straight. There it goes. Yeah. Slow down. We want it nice and tight. We want a nice tight rope. There. All right, slow down a little bit there. Slow down. Let it catch up now. You keep going. Okay, stop right there. Okay, you can hook that on there right there. Good. Look at how tight that is. That's good. All right. That's a lot of rope. Yeah. Okay. And then on this side here, I tie that off. Let me get that there. Tie this off. Okay. Now watch, I'm going to let go. I'm going to let go, and it's going to spin a little bit because it's really over tight, but that's good. Look at that. It's like a snake. It's moving on its own. Okay. Okay, this is, now look at the difference already. I can show you the types of rope. You guys can sit down now, so I want to show you this right here. Look at this. This is really, actually, this is very good rope. It's super tight. Look at that. It stands up. That's how tight that is. And look at this one, the one we made by the sticks. Okay, and you'll notice something else about the difference too. It's the same amount of yarn that I was using, but one's thinner than the other. And you also see on this side here that it's kind of bumpy. It's like one strand is being wrapped around two other strands, or two strands are wrapped around another strand. Where this one is one strand is wrapped around everything. And that's what makes the machine-made rope the better one. Because when you were spinning it by sticks, then every person was doing it at a different speed, and it wasn't having the same tension on that. So that's why the machine-made that the Charlestown Navy Yard made, because it was all made out of machinery and it was uniformly made, was better than the stuff that they were getting from some of the commercial yards because they had people doing the spinning by hand itself. So does anybody have any questions about anything here? Yes? You can. So traditionally, rope is usually either 3 or 4 strands, depending on its use. But most of it's 3 strands. Any more than that, then you have, there's a different type of construction on it because you have to have a separate rope in the center of the whole thing. It's called a core, and it's not necessary. So 4 strands are usually used for tying up ships, for mooring them, so that type of thing. So any other questions? Yes?
Did they take turns on the rope walk when they had to go back and forth?
In the Navy Yard rope walk, it was done by machinery. So the machine was just doing it automatically. Steam powered, done by belts and all that type of thing. So it was they didn't have to do that. The old-fashioned commercial one, yeah, they probably would have people take turns doing that. So, but that was their job, doing it 8 hours a day. Some jobs are boring, but that they have to be done. Yes.
Will we get to keep part of the rope?
I'm going to give this to the teacher. So she can divide it up however she wants to do that. And actually, you can have the other one, too, so I won't need that. So, yes, you have a question? In the Navy Yard, there was some braided rope being made, but it wasn't the primary rope that they were using. Braided rope today is used for the same purposes now. But braided rope, you use it. It's depending. The rope. There's such a technology now with rope the types of braid that you use, the types of materials that you use, even in the inside construction. Braided rope usually has a core in it. It has something in the center of it. Shoelaces won't, but most of them do. And so the type of material in there. So they would use it for climbing. You could use it for towing. I mean, some of the tow ropes. Even like if you've ever seen somebody pulling somebody on a water ski, you have to make sure you get the right type of rope because some of them have too much buoyancy, so they'll be like boom, and so they're being bounced back and forth. So, but different uses for different types of rope and material. So, yes.
Do the sailors make their own rope, or do they buy it off a rope maker?
Today they buy it, and it's all commercially made. So they buy it through they order it, and it's being made. But at one time, the Charlestown Navy Yard made all the rope for the Navy. They trusted what they did at the Navy Yard for making rope, and they made all of the rope. And they even did experiments. Starting in the 1950s, they started experimenting in making nylon rope. They were using hemp fibers before that, and then they started trying with nylon. So,
I think we can do one more question.
Okay, sure.
How many people did it make to make a rope?
That's a good question, and I don't know. I've seen so many, depending on what time period in the Navy Yard, there were so many different types of jobs to be done. Just loading the hemp onto the machine that does the combing and straightening things, the heckling part. I mean, I've seen pictures where I've seen 3 or 4 guys working that machine. So, and during the Second World War, they were doing it 24 hours a day. They were making rope all the time. So I don't know the answer. Sorry.
All right, well, thank you all. I think we should have a round of applause for Dan and all of the students from the Elliott School. All right.
And if you want to know a little bit more about it, come down to the Charlestown Navy Yard. We have a visitor center there with exhibits, and we have an exhibit there all about rope. We have a machine just like this one that makes the rope there, and you can see all the types of rope, all the different types of rope they used to make in the Navy Yard. One of them is this wide. It's just that big wire in diameter. So if you cut it right down the middle, that's how big it was. So you're welcome to come down and take a look. Okay, sure.